Greetings, Exiles. Today's video, I'm going to show you guys how to craft a +2 amulet, a +4 amulet, and for you crazy Exiles out there, a +8 amulet. But before we get into it, let's play a game of heads or tails. Heads, I win, and you have to subscribe, or tails, you lose, and you have to subscribe. Tough luck, chump. What's going on, guys? It's your boy Ray. Welcome back to another crafting video. Before we hop into it, I just like to say thank you guys so much for 169 subs. We just hit 100 subs like 2 days ago, and we're almost at 200 subscribers. So I just want to start off by saying thank you guys for the support. Glad you guys like the crafting videos, and I will continue to do my best to provide them for you, homie. Once again, like I said in the past, I do these for fun. I know there are people more knowledgeable than me. I just want to share my knowledge with you guys, and if I can help out one of you become a little better at crafting, then I've done my job. Anyway, today we're going to be crafting +2, +4, and at the end we'll do a +8 potential amulet. I won't do it, but I'll explain to you how you would do it, because they're very expensive. But for most of you, we're going to just stick to a +2 amulet. This can be used for multiple builds that require it. Hex Blast Mines are one of them. RF, which is another popular build, is another one. Any build that would require you in your POBs to have an amulet with +1 ult skill and +1 of a certain element, chaos, lightning, fire, or cold, this crafting video is for you. So let's start off. We're gonna grab an amulet. So there's multiple ways to do this. Some guarantee you better results, but others have a better item. So what do I mean by that? So for example, if we're going to do RF, since RF is one of the most popular builds each league, some people do use it with the unique amulets. As you can see on PoE Ninja, when it comes to RF, 46% use it with Defiance of Destiny, which is really good if you're just going for like the immortal RF playstyle. But if you're looking for a bit more damage, 51% actually use a rare amulet. So shout out to the 51%. If you were to have a normal base, what you'd want to do is you'd want to alteration and augmentation until you were to hit +1 all spells. Hey guys, Future Wad here. I just want to apologize as I'm editing. I realized throughout the video I said +1 spell gems a lot. I meant anytime you hear me say spell gems, I mean +1 skill gems. I'm so used to saying spell skill gems that I just started saying spell gems. It's +1 skill gems, okay? Delete the word spell from your memory and apologize for my stupid behavior. One all spells. If we go on back to Craft of Exile, it's about 1 in 1,847 on average to hit +1 all skills as a prefix. So that's about 1 to 2 div at the current price worth of alterations. Of course, that's on average. It could take you more, it could take you less, but on average it should take you about 1,800 alterations to hit it. There are other ways to do this. So what I did was I bought one that had +1 all skills, but we need this to be a magic item, and I'll explain to you why in the next step. But we need this to be a magic item. So what we're gonna do is, because it has 6 mods, we're gonna go into bestiary, and we are going to actually split it into 3 amulets. The reason why we're gonna do that is because it'll actually isolate the +1 with a random skill that we have in here. And that's perfect for us because really that's what we're looking for right now. We want that +1. So, and we only want it. So, and we don't want to annul right now from 6 as to go all the way down to magic. We would have to hit 4 successful annuls, and that's not too likely. So what we're gonna do is we bought a Black Morgan. I got this for around 1.1 div, and we are going to actually split it into 3, which is a new craft that came out this league, which is awesome. Split an item into 3 mods.
Prove to the first ones you are worthy,
So we're gonna just kill these guys.
You are truly a survivor.
And we actually kept the one with the +1 all skill. We have the 2 other ones here, but honestly, we don't even care for these. These are pretty useless. So now that we have it as a rare, oh, actually, I was hoping it was gonna make it a magic. So it's a 50-50 chance. If we fail, then we're gonna go back to alteration spamming. So here we go, guys. Be gone, thought. Every time I miss an annul, a little part of me dies on the inside. Alright guys, so we could have alteration spam. Like I said, if you're low on funds, that is the best way to do it. You want to sit there and you want to alt spam until you hit the +1 all skills, and then we continue to the next step from there. I am not that patient right now, so I bought another one. I understand the reason why that my item did not go into a magic item was because it hit a double prefix. So let's try this again. We're only going to split into 2, and we're going to hope we hit 1 prefix, 1 suffix, and let's see what happens. Alright, so we hit our split, guys, thankfully, but now we need to actually get some more beasts because we ran out, some yellow beasts, so I will be right back.
Good shot.
Well, alright guys, rest in peace those poor animals, and let us continue. So we're going to create a magic imprint of this item because we don't want to keep having to spend 2 div to reroll. These are about 110 C each. This is just what I would do personally in order to save a lot of time and effort. If that is expensive for you and you don't want to go like do this technique, then feel free to just attempt the 50-50 and pray for the best. So we're gonna annul. We actually hit the +1 all skill, which is what we were looking for. So now we don't really need this anymore. So what we're gonna do is we're actually gonna create one more fracture of this, because this is the best way we can get it is just to have the +1 all skills. Oops. Okay. All right. So now that we have this, we don't need this one anymore. We're actually just gonna delete this because I accidentally use this one by accident. It's gonna go back to the other version. Okay. All right. So, all right, guys. So now that we created our backup in case something goes wrong, we have our +1 all skill gems. I highly suggest you create this backup, guys. It just saves you a lot of time and effort and energy to get back to this step. Trust me, it is worth to spend that extra div or 2 to have this. I think these crasics are 1 div each. Buy 2 of them just to have. Trust me, it'll save you a lot of stress and energy. So now what we're going to do is we're going to regal to get it to magic. To get it to a rare item. All right, and now we're going to go for an annul and hope that we hit the dex. We did not, so thankfully we have a backup. We're actually going to create another backup. That's why I said to buy, you know, a couple in case you you mess up. And unfortunately I don't have any more, so be right back. So I'm buying 2 more. Unfortunately they've gone up by 0.1, which is not too bad, guys. Not too bad compared to like, you know, some other beasts. 1 div is definitely, like I said, is worth not going through this headache again. So we're going to create another magic imprint. Gotta leave this party, actually. Boom, we have our imprint. Okay, we're going to save it there, and now we're going to do the same step we just did. We're going to regal, and we're going to go for the annul, and we did it. So this is what we're looking at. So we don't really need this anymore, but we'll keep it for memories. So this is what you're looking for. This is the stage you want to be at. It's +1 all skill gems, naked on its own, on a rare amulet. I'm gonna go for right now for the RF build, so that's why I use the dex and amulet, because it was the most popular on PoE Ninja. And let's go to the next step. So this step, unfortunately, is unavoidable. And this step is the most expensive part of this whole process. And it's where you're going to spend most of your currency in order to make this. But this is the best and most efficient way to do it. So we're going to go to the crafting bench. We're going to go and craft. Can have up to 3 crafted modifiers. So that's 2 div. We're going to do prefixes cannot be changed, which is 2 div. So that's 4 div already. And then we're going to do cannot roll attack modifier. Okay. And boom. So that's a 5 divines we have to spend. There's no way around that. Don't try to be smart with it. I'm telling you, this is the only way to do it. So now that we have this step, this is going to be the baseline for every single +2 amulet you're going for, okay? Doesn't matter what build it is or what attribute it is, this is what you're going to go for. This is what you want to end up with. From here, it's up to you to decide which attribute you want. Do you want fire, +1 to all fire? Do you want +1 to all chaos? Do you want +1 to all fizz? Do you want +1 to all lightning, cold? Your choice. So for RF, it's +1 to all fire. For Penance Brand, I think it's +1 to all fizz. For Hex Blast, it's +1 to all chaos. So you decide what works best for you guys. And it's all decided here at the harvest. So the reason why I say it's expensive is because not only did it cost 5 div for that part, but what we're going to do now is we're going to actually have to do one of these mods. So the add a fire, add a cold, and remove of a non-influence item. So because I'm doing fire, I'm going to be using purple juice. Cold and fizz and chaos are definitely the most expensive. Chaos especially because they're yellow juice, but purple juice and blue juice aren't too pricey. So we're going to buy some purple harvest. I actually have a lot of, let me just add this to my tab. I actually don't have enough purple, so we're going to buy some purple juice. Once again, God bless this trading system. I don't have to go on to the trade site and wait an hour for somebody to respond to me. 11,000 for a div is ridiculous. My God, how much is yellow life force? I think yellow life force is like 3k. Yeah, so once again, depends on your build. If you have yellow, it's unfortunate for you, especially if you're Hex Blast, but I mean, that's why it's expensive for that, and it's expensive for the div card gambling. So now we have to buy one of the sacred seeds, sacred crystallized life force. It's probably better if you were to buy this in chaos because it's actually cheaper than a div. So we're going to buy one, and boom, we have what we need. So we're going to add this to our dash, and now we're going to go back to the hoarder crafting, and we're going to do add a fire and remove, or add a new fire modifier, remove another random. So it's going to be guaranteed to hit +1 fire for us. So we're going to hit it. It's probably going to remove the cannot roll attack mod, and then it's going to hit the +1 fire. Once again, it is guaranteed every single time. 100% you cannot fail this. It works with every single one. Cold, lightning, fizz, and chaos, and fire. So now we have our +1/+1. That is more or less the base of what we're getting at. Alright guys, so if you were, for example, doing RF, the next thing you would need on this would be life. Most characters would want life or something similar to that. So now that since we already have can have up to 3 crafted modifiers and cannot roll attack modifiers, we're going to go back. We're going to craft prefixes, cannot be changed, once again. And because we can only guarantee life in this way only, we're going to have to go for another add remove. So this is the only way that we can guarantee to hit a life roll, because unfortunately in prefixes, if we were to mess up, it's done. We can't change it. So if we were to hit something like evasion or some low armor or mana, there's nothing we can do about it. So we have one shot to try to hit a good life roll. Even if we hit a low life roll, we have to stick with it. So this step is up to you. If you don't want to do this, you can just do, you can Exalt Slam, pray for the best, and just continue on to the suffix part after. But we're going to go for it. You know what I mean? All right, guys. So here we go. Add a new life modifier, remove another random modifier from a non-influenced item, and let's pray we hit T3 or above. Come on, Chris. GGG. So we hit tier 5. Unfortunately, it's a settle, guys. Nothing more we can do at this point. But thankfully, we still have prefixes cannot be changed. So whatever else you wanted to go for after this would be up to you. I would feel like most builds would want chaos resistance. So we would do, because we already have prefixes cannot be changed, we're going to do chaos resistance, reforge chaos. Boom. We have 16 chaos. So I mean, that could be good for some people, but for us, we're not going to keep. Once again, if you were to hit T3 and above, I would settle, depending on how much Chaos Res you need, because there is a small chance that we can actually brick our suffixes, which means we fully fill them up with the Harvest Reforge, and then we're kind of stuck at that point, and we definitely don't want that, because there's one more thing we want to craft onto this. So we're going to go for one more, and just hope we don't brick, and hope that we hit something above T4. So there we go. We hit T2. That is a perfect way to settle. So T2. And now, honestly, we're going to just go because I know we're doing it for RF. So if you wanted fire and chaos, we can add to this. And this would give us a lot of extra chaos damage. You can add whatever suffix you're looking for. Feel free. If you're missing ally resistance, if you're missing stats, I would go for it. And boom, that would pretty much be our amulet. We would anoint. We would use some catalysts, maybe attribute catalysts, and then we would sell. Or you could even use the prismatic if you want to buff up the chaos resistance, whatever floats your boat. I actually think that looks better if you do the chaos, and then we can sell. Alright guys, so it turns out the best method we're going to do right now is we're going to craft on something like fire and chaos to give ourselves some additional chaos resistance. Once again, you settle for the chaos resistance that you're happy with. I'm going to settle for T2 because I'm not actually using these. But if you're going for your end game, you need the chaos, go for T1, or just settle with whatever you're happy with. The best thing we can do from here on out is go for a gamble. The gamble is going to be a Hunter's Exalted Orb, because there's a chance that we can hit fire damage over time multiplier. So let's buy a Hunter's Exalted Orb. I believe they're about 2 div each. 2.4 div. Okay, so we're gonna buy it off trade because of how like 0.4s work in the currency exchange. Honestly, as much as I love the currency exchange, sometimes it's just better to buy from the trade site, because it would have been 3 div for me to buy this from that, and now I can just actually buy it for 2 div, not even 2.4, 2 div from just a random guy on trade. So all right, so now we're gonna pray, go for the 1 in, I think it's 1 in 5 to hit the fire damage over time. If not, hopefully we can hit something useful. There's also chance to gain power, endurance, and frenzy charge on kill, but let's see what happens. And we hit chaos damage over time. So that's unfortunate. We would still settle, even though we're not using chaos damage, because it was just an open suffix. So that is the end of this part of the video, guys. So now I want to show you a harder way to craft these with a fractured modifier. So this is how you craft it from base, the easiest way, because it's easier to roll +1 all spell skill gems when you have two available like prefixes or suffixes. But because one is already fractured suffix, it takes a lot longer to actually roll it with without the open suffix also. So we're gonna roll for this. So we're gonna try to craft it again, and I'll come back to you guys when we actually have the +1 all spells. Alright homies, so for this method I'm going to show you guys how to craft it in Craft of Exile, because it's just going to take me way too long, and I don't really have the time right now to keep spamming until I hit +1 all skill gems. So what we would do is, for example, we would keep rolling, we would keep using alteration orbs until we hit +1 all spells. So we'd have something like this, okay? So because it's already fractured, we couldn't do what we did in the past with the Crazy Chimera. We can't imprint anything with a fracture. So from here, we're gonna have to regal, okay? And then we're gonna have to hope that, see, we actually got unlucky. If we hit a suffix, it actually would have been a lot easier, but because we didn't, we're gonna have to go for the 50-50. And if this were to happen, you would have to restart to the first step again till you have this, and we would re-go again once we hit it. So if you were to hit a suffix, if you were to be lucky enough to hit a suffix mod instead of a prefix, what you would do next is you would craft on prefixes cannot be changed. Okay, because you would want to spend the extra currency on this. It is worth, because you don't want to go through the step of trying to get +1 again. I'm telling you, it's not worth. And you would annul. Even if you hit the +1, it's 2 div down the drain. You craft it again, and you keep going until you hit... Oh my god, we're just unlucky as hell here. Until you were to hit that. So even though it's a 50-50, I lost 5 in a row. I mean, you know how it is. It's PoE, guys. It's crafting. So... when we get to this step, we would remove the crafted mod, and we would be on a rare with this. This is what you're looking for any type of fractured suffix you have. Fractured suffix is actually tougher than a fractured prefix, because if we were to have, say, for example, fractured life, all we'd have to do is the same step we did in the previous part where I showed you guys, which is suffixes. Oops, we're going to actually get rid of that. Actually, it's fine. So we're going to go down to the bottom of our crafted suffixes, and we're going to do can have up to 3 crafted modifiers. And on this time, we can only do cannot roll attack modifiers. For example, we had something like this amulet. It's so much easier because we were guaranteed to keep the prefixes, and we don't have full suffixes. So here we would do what we did in the crafting video that you guys just watched. Can have up to 3 crafted mods. Prefixes cannot be changed. Can I roll attack mod? Then we'd harvest craft whatever attribute we wanted. So let's say we wanted, since we did fire last time, let's do chaos this time, for example. We do add remove chaos, and we're guaranteed, and prefixes are done. And we have the guaranteed max life already in there, so we didn't have to do the harvest reforge for it. But once again, to get to this step is a lot more difficult. It takes a lot more time, and it's not as many redos as we were with the no fracture, because we could use the chimera to imprint and have a backup. But if you were to do it the more difficult way, it is more rewarding, and you do have a better craft at the end of the day. But when it comes to, for example, a suffix, so the damage over time would probably be the best suffix for RF. You would have to only do can have up to 3 crafted modifiers. You would do cannot roll an attack modifier. We could craft on an additional prefix just in case. So we'll craft on, for example, lightning damage, just so we have extra room in case we... extra stuff. Sorry, we want to craft on extra prefix. So let's say we craft on energy shield. So let's say we craft on life. Okay, boom. So now when we go for the add remove, it's actually a 33% chance that we hit the all spell skill gems, which 1 in 3. Let's hope that your luck is good. So let's say we wanted to do fire again because we're doing damage over time. We would go boom. And done. We actually hit one of the crafted mods, and we're good. Let's go back again, test it out again. As you can see, it's 25% chance to hit one of the 4, and thankfully we didn't hit the all skill gem. Boom, we go again. We didn't hit it. So 1 in 4, you can get unlucky, for example, and hit it like that, where you actually did hit the +1. At this point, you'd have to restart. Or if you're just pissed off at the game, you could just settle for +1 and just craft on some life and go from there. But of course, the whole point of this video is the +2. So you just hope that you don't hit the all skill gems. We end up with something as amazing as this. So this has the prefixes, the suffixes, and then of course from here we would do prefixes cannot. Actually, in this case, it looks like it's better to just go for the reforge life, which is so much cheaper than the add remove, and hope that you hit something good in the life slot. So here, if we did it, we actually hit a suffix, which is fine because we can just craft on prefixes cannot be changed one more time, and then go for it again. Hit it again. We'll do it again. My God, what is the luck right now? I was just hitting so much before I did this, and we hit rarity. Sometimes, man. Sometimes this game in crafting, really, It's all luck based. I swear it's all luck. So if you guys are giga rich and you're going for your end game, end all amulet, and you have unlimited funds and you really like just want to go all out and you want a +4 amulet, then look no further. I'm going to show you guys how. So first off, you're going to buy a focused amulet split. These are about, as you can see, 115 div just for the base. These can be found in Heist. They're like the jackpot reward. You want to go for the focus as opposed to the other one because we want to have 2 prefixes and 1 less suffix. We want to have 2 prefixes and 1 suffix only because suffix isn't as important. So let's say you were to buy this amulet, the focus amulet, would go on to Craft of Exile. Let's restart. Okay. So we do the exact same step, my friends, that we did in the other one. We did alteration spam, okay, until we ended up hitting, for example, +1 all skills. More or less, we would probably end up hitting this, let's say, with something else. Let's craft on suffix, just so it's a little bit more realistic. Okay, and of course, next what we would want to do is we would want to probably make a copy of this because it would take a lot to hit the +2. So we'd make a copy, a crazy copy, and then what we would do is we would annul. Hope that we hit that. We would make another copy again. We would regal, and from here we would what's it called, craft on, or we would also annul again. Hope that we just have the +1, the +2. If we miss, we would do the crazy chimera step again until we end up with just the +2 all skill base. When you get to this step, next what you would do is you would go onto your suffixes and you would craft. It's also good to make multiple copies of the beast because there's multiple steps that we can mess up on. So next what we're going to do is we're going to actually craft cannot roll attack modifier only. It's good that you have the extra Craysix in case we brick this, and then we can turn it back into a magic, and then we go to the next step again like we did before. We're going to do add remove, whichever one you like. Like I said, most people would probably go for chaos. I feel like chaos is the most popular for the +4, or even fizz. We'll do fizz since we haven't done fizz yet, and we'll go for the slam. We actually end up hitting the all skills, so we would restart here, and let's say we end up hitting this. This is what a lot of people are looking for, is all fizz, all spell skill gems, and +2/+2. See, I keep saying spell, all skill gems. And after this step, we would do prefixes cannot be changed. And we would, for example, if you're going for like a crit build that required a +4, we would do reforge crit, reforge whatever you're looking for. So you only get one shot at this, don't forget. So whatever you get, you kind of have to settle with. So we do prefixes cannot be changed, and say we wanted to go for crit, we would do reforge crit. Whatever we end up hitting, we have to keep. Unfortunately, there's not much we can do, because if we were to go for a null and we hit with other mods, we'd have to restart. So it's up to you if you would want to restart, since you do have the Krasik Beast, so you could start from the old spell again and keep going, elevate it to +1 all fizz, but it costs you a lot on the harvest craft. But like I said, at this point you'd probably have a lot of money. Hopefully you hit something like this, 60%, or something great that you want. And if you were happy with this, you'd set up for the +4 with the crit, or say you wanted like chaos, you'd go for the chaos res, or whatever your build actually looking for, cast speed, attack speed, whatever you're looking for, you would used right here. There isn't a drop mod. Anyways, if for example you were gonna go for a +8, what you would do here is you would craft on something that you don't care for. So you'd craft on, for example, say you don't use endurance charges, you'd craft on +2 to minimum endurance charges, okay, because your build doesn't require endurance charges. Craft on a charge that doesn't affect your build, that you don't use at all, that you don't gain. Something that the negative cannot affect you if you were to hit the perfect reflecting miss. So for example, we don't use endurance charges, we craft on +2 to minimum endurance charges. It's +1, but because it's 100% amplified. And Unfortunately, I cannot do it in this, but we would go for the Reflecting Mist. The best way you would do this, in my opinion, would be, because you're going to have the currency, would be to buy a Hinocor's Lock. You would hit this with a Hinocor's Lock, and then you would Reflecting Mist to see what you get. If you were to miss, you could just craft on something else, or I don't know how you would actually re-roll it. Maybe you would Blessing Orbit. I don't know if you can even Blessing Orbit. Maybe you would just Divine it. I don't know what you could do to change it, but you'd Hinocor's Lock and check the Reflecting Mist and see what you would get. If the +1 all spells goes, if the +1 all skill gems and the +1, well, if the +2 all skill gems and the +2 all whatever secondary skill gem you decide to elevate goes to +4, and the minimum endurance charges goes to -4, then you've succeeded. If anything else, it's a brick. If this goes to +4 and this goes to -4 and this goes to +4, it's a brick. You just need to make sure you hit both your prefixes, and that's how you get +8. Unfortunately, Hinocor's locks are insanely expensive. So like I said, this isn't even something I can recreate for you guys, as I don't even have enough currency with there are 144 divines each Hinocor's lock. So each attempt would be 144 plus a Reflecting Mist is 15 divines. So you'd only need one Reflecting Mist because, once again, you're going to Hinocor's Lock constantly, but it's 144 divines each try in order to hit this. So this is up to you. If I were you, I would settle with the +4 and be happy with that until you get enough currency to go for the +8. But yeah, that's how you would craft a +2/+2 amulet. Plus, in this way, you could keep the suffixes like this if you wanted to. Instead of going for the reforge, you could just craft on whatever suffix you're looking for here. So say you wanted to use like crit, you would just craft on global crit strike chance right here, and it would double it too, so you at least get it, and then you could have the chance to Hinocor's Lock later on. But if you like knew deep down that you're like, I'm never gonna buy Hinocor's Lock and Reflecting Mist, then you could just do it like I said and do prefixes cannot be changed, and then just go for the Reforge crit, and then hope you hit the a higher critical strike multiplier than you would. Like, this is T1. This would be an insane roll. This is like what you're looking for endgame. And yeah, that is how you craft a +4 or potentially +8 amulet.